I'd just like to speak on this amendment in support real quick. The Department of Defense should not be giving money to propaganda machines. In fact, the only money that should be going from the Department of Defense anywhere is to lethality, not organizations ticked off that a conservative from Ohio might be calling out different branches for their focus on DEI or CRT, or a movement that is basically alienating conservatives and pushing conservatives outside of its ranks. I think that there are a lot of members who speak on these bills that are not service members or have no experience with the Department of Defense, and honestly, we in this governing body are not going to allow a wokeification of the Department of Defense. And frankly, with the near-peer threat that we have in the future, I think that it is increasingly important that we are focusing again on lethality and not woke nonsense that has no business in the NDAA.
A lot of this is coming from disputes that conservatives have. But you can't just say whatever you want to say. The people who tried to overturn the 2020 election are learning that. We have heard about the attack on this Capitol on January 6th. We have heard people say, oh, it didn't happen. It was Antifa. It was an inside job. It was government. All of these things are wrong, okay? Not, you say this, I say that. Wrong. Facts do exist, even if some of them turn out to be wrong. This amendment says, nah, we're giving up. We're not even trying to figure out what's true. Anything goes. Have fun with it. I don't think that's a good idea in general, but it is a particularly bad idea in our national security environment that we are in right now, because Russia and China love that approach.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America. Their contribution to the success and security of the country cannot be overstated. Simply put, they are the driving force behind America's dominance in the world. The men and women that start small businesses take calculating risks to compete in the marketplace. It is one of that is supposed to allow the best products and services to rise to the top through a spirited competition free from government influence. Now, at least this is how it's supposed to be here in America. That is why it's appalling that an investigation led by the Committee on Small Business uncovered that the federal government is actively silencing entrepreneurs and driving them out of business simply because they exercise their right to free speech. Under the guise of misinformation and disinformation, the Biden administration is funding third-party entities such as NewsGuard to label entrepreneurs' free speech as dangerous and prevent them from doing business online. In a country that was founded on the free flow of ideas, it is unconscionable that the government would seek to interfere with an individual's ability to make a living over the internet because of their beliefs. Make no mistake. This is a direct effort by the government to skirt the Constitution and force a single viewpoint on America. Some will have you believe that government-forced censorship and demonization of small businesses who spread supposed misinformation is the only way to protect America. The reality is that those same people simply label speech they dislike as misinformation. That is why one of America's founding principles is that more information, not the suppression of it, brings out the truth. My amendment is just the first step in cutting off the head of the snake that threatens the God-given rights afforded to all Americans.
What is that dispute here is fact-checking. And it is not true that businesses or anyone in America could say whatever they want. Facts do matter. I mean, if the U.S. government is doing business with a company that says that their product will let you live to 200 years and cure cancer, okay, you don't have the freedom to do that. And I would hope that someone within the administration would check that and say, yeah, that's not somebody we want to do business with. This amendment basically is saying facts do not matter. And basically saying that they don't exist, that everyone just says what they want to say and we just go along with it. And that's completely wrong. You should do fact-checking. Now, I will completely agree with the gentleman that facts are not as black and white as a lot of times people say they are, and we should have robust disputes about that. What actually happened? What is the information out there? But this amendment doesn't allow for that. This amendment says anything goes. Any effort whatsoever to check the accuracy of what is being said and done by people we are doing business with is going to be strictly prohibited. Russia and China love that approach. They regularly feed the disinformation battles in the U.S. on both the right and left. I yield myself an additional 30 seconds. They find stories that have agitated people on the right or agitated people on the left, and they amplify them. We're seeing this all over the place on the Ukraine war as Russia has spread story after story after story that is picked up by people here. It is in our national security interest to check those facts and not spread propaganda damaging to this country. Dispute it, and sometimes they get it wrong. Let's have that debate. But please, let's not pass this amendment that basically says there are no facts, whatever you say is true just because you said it. That is not correct. Please defeat this amendment. I reserve the balance of my time.